I don't like, I meet a lot of people one time during training sessions, and that's because they usually, they can't hang or it's too much for them. I have a joke about that. I meet people once a lot. Um, but when in terms of this, I expect to speak to you a lot more often again. So this definitely shouldn't be the last time that we speak. Because I definitely won't be able to tell you as much as I can in this short amount of time. I definitely can't. It's way too much.
Love that. Well, again, I'm so glad you say that. That really means a lot to me. And what you said, 100%, I would much appreciate that. Would love to again continue to build. I'm currently on a life mission to inspire, motivate, and empower. And you're inspirational, you're motivating, and you've empowered me before we've even spoken on this call. So if there's any way and if I can be a part and help you to continue to be able to, you know, achieve your goals in life as you've already inspired and given so much to me, I'm all down for that. So
That's
again,
great.
by far, I'm not saying I can hang with you right now on the bar in terms of your levels because I've seen some of the training you get to. Like I'm currently capped at 30 was my peak in terms of pull-ups in one set, and then currently I can do 20 relatively comfortable, but 30 has been my peak. And but when I see you and your team just doing 40 as a casual in the 40 holds, for me, I'm like that told me showed me that there's levels, and I'm still a young cub in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
and we got a far way to go.
No, but I definitely, you're a fighter, so I definitely know you could definitely hang. So it's not so much of doing the 40 is how many times you could do that 10 or that 20. So
Mm,
that's way more important. I just had to tell someone that last night, that their goal was to try to get to the 60 push-ups. And I told them like, after you reach to 20 and you climb from the 1 to the 20, worry about getting to 26 times before you go to the 60, and then you build from there. So being that you got 30, concentrate on getting that 30 10 times, 10 sets of 30, and you'll be there. Then it's time for the 40s. Jump
oh,
straight to the 40s, not even the 35.
okay, okay. But no, I love that. So again, if you were to like, if we were to go back to the beginning, is in like, hey, young Zef, how did your journey in calisthenics all begin?
But really from my brother, it was punishment. It started with push. So I used to annoy him a lot, and he would tell me, do 50 push-ups. I did the 50 what was easy at the time. They probably was very bad form, who knows? But it was easy at the time. I told him I'm done. He said, all right. He was shocked. He was like, all right, so do 100 while he watches his football game. And that's how it really started. Calisthenics started that day for me when it came to push-ups and punishment as far as making the calisthenics fun. I turned my punishment into fun.
Mm,
So throughout my journey, most of my childhood, I did a little bit of gymnastics, a little bit of martial arts here and there. That these things was very random. I very competitive. You name it, I did it. Basketball, skateboard, and typical things, BMX, freestyle, all of those things. But the main thing for me was competition. I was always competitive because I was the smallest one out my group. So
mm.
I had to perform, double time, sometimes triple time just to keep up and to actually win. So I would say when I got into I would say teens, like 19, not 19, like 14, 15, I started weight training
Mm.
with light weights, of course, and started to take it more seriously because I hanged with older guys, like grown men. I always had like a spectrum. I never really hung with people my age. It was always younger or older. The people my age would usually be people in school, and I would just see them in school, but I wouldn't really hang with them. And you can cut me off anytime if I start
No, no,
rambling.
I get it. I like the
But
story.
um, so hanging with the older men, they started working out, and I would try to keep up with them. So here I am, a younger guy, way smaller than them, trying to keep up with grown men with they working out. After I would learn workout routines with them and certain exercises, I would come back to my younger friends, and now I'm teaching them. You understand? Teaching them what I learned and competing with them. So now they're getting stronger by trying to keep up with me, and I'm getting stronger by trying to keep up with my older friends. So strictly calisthenics came about in '96 when we left the weights alone. I had a friend who started with us with calisthenics. We would work started with us with the calisthenics and the weights in my basement. So while we work out with the weights during our break time or our turn, we would do calisthenics. So basically while you're on the bench, I would be on the pull-up bar. While you doing curls, I would be doing push-ups, and that's how we would alternate all the time with weights. So we had a friend that he couldn't keep up with us anymore when it came to weights. So he told us like, hey, I'm going strictly calisthenics now. So he would leave us and go to the park at night and go work out with some strangers, some random people. So being me and my competitive nature, I would tell him, okay, after we work out, I'll still come and see you and we'll still do the calisthenics. So after we work out hours in the basement with the weights, we'll walk, like I say, 2 miles to go work out. And mind you, this would be like no exaggeration, like a 10-hour session. And this would be daily because we would work out from 5 o'clock to 10 and then go walk to the park to go do calisthenics. So after a while, the calisthenics became more fun. Like I seen the benefits from it. I would get hurt a lot less. And being outdoors, meeting new people. I didn't meet these people. It was just me and my friend in the basement working out. You know, we would have to drag people to the basement, basically like to torture them. You know, and after a while, you know, we ran out of people. So going to the parks now, you meet new people, new challenges, and we will battle. I didn't even get it. I skipped the battle. But yeah, I gotta stop there because I don't want to keep.
I get it. I get it.
I
I
could keep
get it.
talking, man. You
I,
catch me at the
I
right
can hear
time. You
the
catch me at the right time.
enthusiasm. I can hear the passion coming through. Was almost reliving it and like
Yeah,
going through that.
exactly. You got me at a good time. I'm having my tea, so you got me at a perfect time now.
No, I appreciate that. So if we're to go on to the part, so you said you're talking about the competition side. So see, you mentioned Strictly Caddy started in '96. You're an all-time athlete around from started as punishment. You turned it into you turned that punishment into a game, into a point where you couldn't be broken there. Gymnastics, martial arts. On the martial arts side, talk to me. Like what martial arts did you practice or train?
When I when I say martial arts, I put that very, very like faintly because the 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 teacher, it was two teachers. I, I don't even remember his name. I got introduced from a friend. One was gymnastics. He would teach gymnastics on the alternate days, and one teacher would teach I think it was jujitsu
Mm.
on the other days. Like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he would teach jujitsu, and Tuesday and Thursday, the other teacher would teach gymnastics. So it was very I wouldn't even really consider that learning anything because I could tell you right now I don't remember anything from it. But that's that's part of like my journey. I learned a lot of disciplines from him, but mainly from the gymnastic teacher. Because some moves right now to this day, I still remember learning them from him. I don't remember too much from the jujitsu teacher, man. I just remember he was a a-hole.
No, I get that. So what we'll do is we'll fast forward more onto the Cali side. So now it's '96. We've passed it. In terms of course, when it comes to the training element, how would you want structure if somebody says, so from this, I'll say with it, it's more the conditioning workouts because I think that see the strength endurance you've got to be able to do the pull-ups, and obviously I've seen the God set, the God set, which you said it's 100 of anything 50 and 50, so it doesn't have to be as extreme as 50 pull-ups into 50 dips. But talk to me the first time you decided that you wanted to unlock a God set. And then obviously I watched the video where you did the 54 and I heard everyone's like in the background, today is the day, today is the day. And then you're on the bar saying like,
Yeah.
today is the day. So tell me like, when did you decide to make it happen? How did you work towards getting there? And the first day you actually unlocked it.
That was the first day. That video was the first day. That's the first time. I wrote in a blog about getting the 50 pull-ups. That was the first part
Mm.
because I used to see a lot of people, growing up. No, I can't say a lot. There was a few people that did 60 pull-ups, 70 pull-ups, but those pull-ups were, I didn't consider those good pull-ups. We had a competition growing up, 5Bs, and a lot of the older guys, the real veterans would compete and they'll do their pull-ups very wide. And there's footage online with them doing it. And what's up? And I always told myself, you know, I gotta get a real 50 and show the world what a real 50 is. At least to me. I need to do a 50 that I'm proud of.
Mm.
If no one, respects it, that's on them. I'm doing it for myself. Because I used to love watching my own videos to get better. So after I tried, and that's on YouTube also, me trying to get the 50, trying to get the 50 from 40 all the way to the 50. There's a lot of failed attempts of the 50 on YouTube. So after now, finally got the 50, I will always drop down and try to do 100 push-ups based on the 5MD. That's another story. So right after the 50, right after I always max, I would drop down and do the pushes because I felt like just me doing 50 pull-ups is not impressive enough.
Mm.
So I have to show you that I still have more in the
Mm.
tank. So I thought to myself, you know what? It'd be crazy. There's so many people that did 50 pull-ups or consider 50 pull-ups, 60 pull-ups, but no one ever took it beyond that. Like they dropped off the bar. What would be crazy is if I turn this into a set. So the 50 pull-ups, the 50 dips, that's a set. One set. You can't leave the bar. 100 reps. Excuse me. 100 reps. No one, haven't seen anyone done anything like that. And that's two different exercises without breaks. Not to mention, it's more than two exercises because of the muscle up.
Yeah.
But I'm just counting the pull-ups and the straight bar dips. So I can't remember if I warned anyone or told anyone. I'm sure I did. I'm sure I told Andy that I'm trying to do that because the 50 pull-ups started to become easy and I knew I had enough left.
Mm.
So that was the goal. Before every session, I would start with 50 and try to muscle up. Majority of the time I failed, majority, it didn't work. And I would just continue the session until that day. That day specifically, that was like after Thanksgiving. And it was about that time because we was going into the new year. I wanted to drop the video in time for Christmas Eve. That was my goal. That I said I have to finish this set before the year's done. I want to drop it on Christmas Eve as a present for everyone. And it has to be done that day. It was a very cold day too.
Mm.
So I I can't remember if that's how I started the set. I started the session that day. Most likely I did start the session with that set. But when I was pulling, my hands was glued to the bar, and that's the most important part about all my sets is that I have to have grip. Pause. If I'm slipping, I know the set is gonna be a failure. So that day though, my hands was glued to the bar. When I first went up, I probably went up too quickly, and that's why I went up, failed, came back down, and so many people, the energy there was just like unmatched. Like I couldn't let them down. So probably if no one was there, I probably would have failed at that attempt. But because of them, I didn't want to let them down. Like I just felt like damn, Z, you can't let them down. Like they'll be so disappointed in you right now. So that's why I didn't let go of that bar. And I told myself, like, today's the day. I'm not gonna disappoint y'all today. And I I got it.
That's it. No, incredible.
Put myself up and got it.
Absolutely, and that's inspirational. Like from that moment, like how did things change? Because as you said, like it was one of the goals to hit it before Christmas Eve. And one of the principles when you go on to when I talk about thinking like a champion, I break that down into three areas in terms of affirmations. So, speaking life into you, goal setting. So when you mention goals there, I'm like, love that. Goals are powerful in terms of being able to create motion, and then visualizing in terms of seeing yourself do something before you've actually achieved it. And so talk to me in terms of with the goal of hitting it. Like, how did you set it down? Was it something that you kind of said to yourself and kept it quiet? Was it something that you shared with your friends? Was it something you put online? Like, how did you set that
Every
goal?
every 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 sorry to cut you. Every set that
Mhm.
I do it the night before mentally. Everything. Like I do the set a million times. Well, not a million, maybe 100 times in my head before I actually do it. And after seeing myself so much, envisioning myself doing it, to do it in the physical becomes I can't say easy, but it's believable. And that happened. You're asking some good questions to get you getting some original content out because a lot of these things I haven't expressed before. When I tried a one-arm pull-up. I used to go to Miami before they set up the bars that they have now,
Mm.
and they had a big bodybuilder dude there. He looked like Superman. So he saw the way that I was doing my pull-ups, and he was amazed because he never seen anything like this. This is back in 2004. So he was like, the way how you do pull-ups, you should be able to do a one-arm pull-up. And I said, I don't know about that. That's a totally different element right there. I don't think that's really possible. So he's like, try. He's like, I tried, I didn't go anywhere. So then he spotted me and I pulled. He's like, yo, I know you could get it. And I and then when he told me that, I said, you know what? I promise you the next time I'm here all the time. The next time you see me, or if you see me again, I have the one-arm pull-up. Needless to say, I tried when I went back home and it was like impossible.
Mm.
Till I was on YouTube. This is 2 years after. Matter of fact, and I seen a guy, a gymnast. He, yeah, he was pulling to his chin easy. That video still has to be there. This guy was amazing, and I seen that, and immediately I was like, wait a minute. So it is possible to do a one-arm pull-up. I was like, he's doing it with ease. He's doing 10. He did like 9 or 8 on each arm. So I'm sitting down watching it. Immediately, I went to my closet ledge, and no lie, I did a one-arm pull-up right there, just from seeing him do it. So it
Mm.
made me see that it's possible of doing it. So in my mind before, for me trying and feeling, I'm there like, yo, this is impossible. This can't be done. So I never really envisioned myself being able to do till I seen that guy do it and show me that, yo. And I seen it. I went to my closet, ledge bar. The next day, went, tried it, got to the bar, the same way he did it. So I was like, wow, all this time that I really could have done this, and I didn't just push myself to do it because I didn't think it was possible. So you know what? That's too easy now. I'm gonna do it better than him. Not necessarily trying to outdo him, but I want to do it my way. And I want to show people like this is a one-arm pull-up. So I brought the bar to my shoulder. You understand? And that's why to this day people don't know why they do they one-arm pull-ups the way they do it. I pulled the bar to my shoulder to show you that I could go past my Adam's apple. So that's definitely a pull-up. You got to count that because I'm going to my shoulder. That's basically like doing a pull-up and I bring the bar to my chest instead of to my throat. You know, I'm showing you I got this. You can't deny that rep right there. Same thing with pulling the bar to my shoulder. So I would always pull the bar to my shoulder to show you that I got the clearance. I'm going past my apple. So that's why today people do one-arm pull-ups to their shoulder. I went on a rant again. I forgot why I brought that up. You asked me. I'm sorry.
No.
What did you ask me?
So, do you know what, boy? I was asking around the power of visualization, and then that's where you shift in terms of like how you in terms of whether it was a goal that you shared like openly, was it something that you kind of had in your internally in terms of I'm gonna hit that God set by Christmas, or like letting everybody know, is in obviously you've done it 100 times in your mind, but like when it comes to goals, what do you believe? Is it something more you write it down, you speak it out, you tell, like everyone's got different theories, so yeah.
Yeah, I told a few people after the failed attempts. So everybody knew, everyone I trained with knew about it. They knew it was about to forward. And my close friends, they really believe in me. You understand? So they knew it was a matter of time. They probably thought it was going to happen a lot sooner, but they knew, especially Andy. He knew. To this day, that's how he's like. He really believes in me. So yeah, like I said, I would envision that and see myself doing it. Anything. There's three things right now I didn't materialize yet. 3 moves. I have dreams about the moves. That's to tell you how infatuated I'm about getting these done. I have to get it done before it's too late. But I have to get these 3 moves done, and they still haven't been done yet. So that lets me know the time. Um, I don't think anyone is going to do it until it's done or improve it until it's done.
Can you let
And
any of the 3 out of the bags? It's kind of
oh no, I can't.
okay.
I can't.
Well,
I
so I
can't.
get it
I can't.
100%. I respect that.
Because
Sometimes you
then
gotta
that's
keep
how it will get done.
it 100.
It'll break my heart to see it's done before I did it. That would honestly shatter my heart to see
Yeah.
someone do it.
Hey,
You
then in
know,
that case, don't
after,
worry. Don't even put it out.
yeah,
Otherwise, somebody will see this and they'll be like, right, you'll put them on a mission. So we'll park it and then
yeah, and
we'll come
it's
back and talk about it once that one's done, and then we'll speak about that unlocking. Because
yeah,
that's obviously I'm just conscious of time now. Are you okay to continue talking? Obviously, I'm happy to cut now. Obviously, I'm very respectful of your time.
yeah. I have I have another half hour
Sorry, say that again.
to half an hour.
Okay, bless. No, I appreciate that. So I was saying, because for me, one of my goals, I'll put it out there, and I tell everybody about it because there's so many records I'm looking to hit in my life that I don't mind if I'm gonna be the first on a few things. So if people do it before me, that's fine. I'll just do it better. But one of the goals, my thing is that I set myself something. I've got something called the 10K level up challenge. So with 10K level up challenge, what that is I break it down, train like a fighter, think like a champion, level up like a boss. Because I feel that when people talk about that 10,000 hours, obviously my name's Kieran, it's got a K in, so obviously I'm connected to that. But the 10,000 hours, when people talk about mastery, so that's why I bring it to a 10K. So with that, I do, like, for instance, running 10K, throwing 10,000 punches, doing 10,000 reps. So with that, in boxing, the same way in life, there's levels to everything. So with my thing is, I see it as, if you can do these things in a month, because obviously running 10K, you and I, we could probably do casually, go out now, under your belt, you'll be able to go. But there are a lot of people out there who may struggle to do 10K. So it's meeting them where they're at. 10K a month is like amateur level entry. Then you've got the professional level where you can do 10K in a week. And then, so reasonable. And then professional is where you can do 10K in a day. Now, obviously, running 10K in a day doesn't make you elite as a global scale, but in comparison to most people can't run 10K. Most people don't run 10K in a day. It's different to
Yes, yeah.
it's different to what we actually do. So is in somebody who runs 10K a day on average, so in the end of the month, they've got 300K under their belt, they're pretty elite when it comes to the running. And my thing was, I want to be able to do 10,000 reps in a day. So when I say that, I'm talking 1,000 pull-ups, 2,000 push-ups, 3,000 squats, 4,000 crunches. Because I know Goggins has got his world record for pull-ups, this, that, the other, but I don't want to just, I want to be well-rounded. So my goal is to say, the two of my calisthenics goals is obviously the 10K reps, 1,000 pull-ups, 2,000 push-ups, 3,000 squats, 4,000 crunches. And the other one is to achieve the God set one day. So those are the two I've put down. I've got them in my book. And so my question to you here is, if one was to have like 5 workouts that built you to, the machine and the inspiration that you are today, what would those 5 workouts be? And at the same time, if we could kind of break them down, because I watch a lot of your videos in terms of like where you do the 40 pull up, you do the 40 hold, then you do the 4, but as in there's levels to everything, and that's elite level, or elite, even elite plus. But essentially, it takes a while to build up to something of that nature. So some people can kind of switch off rather than meeting them where they're at and thinking, actually, obviously I'm not there. Maybe rather than doing 40, I might do 10 and 20 or do 20 and 40, depending. So if you were to say like, 5 routines or workouts that you've done, obviously I've seen a few online, but now getting to speak to you, it'd be great to see what are like 5 routines or different session plans that you might have. And then off the back of that, if you were to break those down into levels, so obviously there's the level that you do it at, for instance, the 40 and 80s, that's what you would do. But if one was to shrink back and say, hey, do you know what? Let's say, for instance, you're looking at also those who are at the earlier stages of their calisthenics where they're pushing to reach their first 10 pull-ups. So there's like, if I was to say on a pull-up basis, if 10 was like amateur, 30 is professional, and 50 plus is elite. So it's in like that kind of level of ability. And if one was to break down like 5 different routines, we can start one at a time, but I've got my mind in terms of 5 different routines. And if we're to then compartmentalize and say, hey, if you're an amateur, you could break it down to this level. If you want to go to pro, this is probably the level. But if you've passed those 2 and you're now elite, that's where we're at.
Well, it's really everyone has different goals, even the amateur or the beginner, the novice. He has a goal. Like, say your goal is to get the God set, and that's like the pinnacle, honestly, right there. Even there's people who did 70, 78. I seen people, did some crazy God sets. But the God set, that's the original God set, the 50-50, 50 pulls straight, 100 straight bar dips. That's the official God set. But a God set means 100 reps on the bar without leaving the bar. So I would say like that's the top level to get to achieve any type of God set. But the OG God set is the one that you want to do. So beginners, I always tell beginners to start with a pyramid. that's how I really started my introduction. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Start with the push-ups first. So 2 push-ups, stand up. 4 push-ups, stand up. All the way 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Down, back down to back down to 2. Do to that. That's beginners. When that becomes 2, when that becomes easy, then you break it down by 1. So you go 1 to 10 instead of by 2s. You understand that right there, that little jump, even if you go to the odd numbers, you do 1, 3, 7, those little increments changes the whole routine dramatically. It could go from just by the ones, could change it from beginner to intermediate right there. And you can make that transition honestly in a week. Those are my go-tos for the person starting off, the average person, the person who never even did a pull-up or push-up before. And I always suggest doing the push-ups first because that's what I started with. Don't just jump into the pull-ups yet. Develop that strength first. And push-ups help you do that by stabilizing your core, getting your shoulders, biceps, tries strong enough to be able to go on that body, hold yourself straight to do that pull. So I always suggest the pyramids at first. Now the number one, is you gotta forgive me because I have so many routines that I forgot and that I create on the spot. But the go-to routine will always be the 5MD. I'm sure you're familiar with that. If you're not, that's the 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups that became that became so famous, from people calling it 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. They don't call it the 5MD. Let me know that you still there. I don't want
Yeah, I'm still there.
certain.
I'm just writing. I'm soaking this wisdom in. I'm just like
Okay.
a kid in the candy store right now. Keep it going.
So yeah, it's called the 5MD.
Hmm.
50 pull-ups,
What does
100
it stand
push-ups.
for?
5-minute drill.
Oh, okay, and that's why they got to do it under 5 minutes. Oh,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
See now, again, like I said, from beginning of this conversation, there's so many layers, so many stories. You will ask me one question and it will lead to another story because it's so many layers to this. I can't give you one simple answer, or I don't like to give one simple answer. I like to give you a story so you understand the thought process on how these things was created and how organic and spontaneous they are.
Hmm.
So the 5MD, I'm gonna give you a quick story, forgive me. The 5MD was originally a 10MD. Again, that's me thinking of the session the night before. That's with me and my brother Doc. You know, we used to work out at Richie's. That's a gym that was in East New York. It closed down now. Real old school gym. This is the winter time, so we have to work out at the gym. I know how our sessions go. Our sessions will go for hours. I said, I want to do this routine. I want to challenge myself. We do these numbers, 100 pulls, 200 push-ups. That's nothing to us. But what if we add the time? We never timed ourselves to see how long it takes us. I think I could get 100 pull-ups and 200 push-ups done in 10 minutes. So I told Doc the next day, like, yo, I want to try this. Let's see if we could do it. It sounds easy. Tried it, failed horribly. Both of us. We both tried. It was like, wow, we have to progress into this. So let's cut it in half and do 50 pull-ups, 100 push-ups. Let's try that first before we go to the 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups. We tried that and failed.
Mm.
So, and the feeling that we had, the aftershock, the burn, the pump was like no other routine I ever did before in just 5 minutes. And that was just to try. And I think I would get like 30 pull-ups and probably 80 push-ups in 5 minutes. That's how much we was feeling by. It became an instant classic right there. So with that routine, you couldn't cheat. Also, even if you did bad form, you would get that pump or you'll get that burn. That routine made so many people throw up. So whether you're able, your max is 30 pull-ups and your push-ups is 60. Once you put the clock, it changes everything. It changes everything to every routine. You get that burn. So if you're doing bad form, you're doing shorties, you're still going to get that pump if you do it correctly. Because the goal is to max out and you rest on the once you get fatigued from doing pulls, you're supposed to go to the pushes immediately. And that's where you rest by doing pushes and vice versa.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
You don't have
that
to go back to back. You don't have to do the whole 50. So let's say,
no,
okay.
no, these guys they try to change the routine and remix the routine, and that's why you see people able to complete the routine and they're able to have a conversation with you after. That's not how the 5MD goes. The 5MD goes, you have to alternate. You got to keep moving. You got to use that clock until you're done. You don't have to finish the pull-ups first and then start the push-ups. These guys are trying to remix the routine. Um, and that's why they trying to change the name. But anyway, that's the most popular routine to this day. There's no other routine that's more popular than that. The second routine will be the BBR, the Bar-Barian requirements, and then the God Set. Matter of fact, those three routines right there. But yeah, that's actually a beginner's routine also, the 5MD, and it automatically adjusts to the person's level. So whether your max pull-ups is 10 and 20 push-ups, once you put the clock to it, and I tell someone you have to finish this in 5 minutes, it changes everything. It takes away that comfort zone. So the 5MD would be like my second go-to routine. And that routine, again, it is the perfect routine that goes from beginner to elite. The third routine, I would say, is between the metronome. The metronome is kind of advanced, honestly. I would say that one. I would say, again, the time routine with the plank holds. So it will be a plank hold, hold a plank, full plank position for 5 minutes, depending on your level, and then the 50 push-ups. And that will go down in a ladder. So the ladder is either going up by tens, going up by twos, and just going, or going down. It's not going up and down like a pyramid, of course, you know that.
So like
So
5 minute hold, 50 push-ups, 4 minute hold, 40 push-up, 3 minute
yes,
hold.
yes, 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 yes. That's that that I would say is my third routine for, I would say that's kind of a elite. That's kind of elite right there. To do that without breaking, that's definitely elite. Um, the beginners, when I have them try, I make them do a minute hold and then 30 pushes. And we do sets of that. So that would be that's three routines. The fourth routine is the metronome. With Bar-Barian training, everything resolves around time, that 5 minute mark. With the metronome now is pace. Once you add pace, that's another element that makes things way more difficult, that you keep the same steady pace with everything. So the metronome, we do 60 BPM. So with our push-ups and pull-ups and dips, we do it with everything. But with everything I just told you, it always starts with the push-ups. So the metronome, are you familiar with that? The
No,
metronome routine? So we add the metronome. Everyone knows what a metronome is, I'm sure. Oh, I skipped. I got the fifth one. Don't worry. The metronome. So on the beat, the metronome goes with a 6 BPM. You you hear that tone, and you try to move with your timing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Full extension from the bottom to the top, usually on a push-up bar. This way you could gauge your reps because you know you touch on everyone and you lock out on everyone. The timing, by you doing it
Hello, you still there? Oh, hey, Trump. Oh, Zef, you still there, bro? Oh, testing, testing. We've been flying high so far. Oh, ah, okay. This is character building right now. So we were just in the middle.
Yes,
You mentioned the metronome, 60 beats per minute. You prefer to do it on the push-up bar so that way you can get the chest all the way to the bar.
yes, yes. So with the metronome, you know every rep is the same. So normally when you're working out, some of the reps will be different based on your fatigue level. You know, sometimes you get tired. You start off fresh. Sometimes you get stronger. That's another element of barbarian training. You get stronger as the routine goes. When you do it on the metronome, every rep has to be the same. You have to give the same output on every rep. So that's what makes things difficult. So even when you're getting fatigued midway, the rep has to be the same or else it won't count and you'll lose the timing. So that's a way you gauge to make sure that that rep is the same with the metronome.
Okay.
You understand? So you could tell easily if someone is putting in the effort or not putting in the effort, if that rep count, if it doesn't count based on their timing, because they'll be off the beat.
Mm.
So you you can implement that with pull-ups and the dips. It works for everything, honestly.
Pull-ups, dips, push-ups.
Pull-ups, dips. Once you're doing it on the metronome, you're doing it on beat, every rep is going to be the same. Every rep. If it's not, you're going to be off beat. And then that's when you stop, reset. So that I would say is the fourth.
So do we
And
do
the
that? So
most
like 1 minute? How long do we do that for? Is that like 1 minute at a time, then break, or do we do it till
no,
we
you would set a number. So 60 push-ups, it will be the goal.
Mm,
And again, we we modify it for certain routines to make it more difficult. So routines that we would just really do push-ups, we add the metronome push-ups to it or the pull-ups to it, and that will make it like 10 times harder.
mm,
But if you're just doing it to start off, you would set a goal number, you say 40, 50,
mm,
60. The goal was to get 100 push-ups on the metronome, and that would be a real 100 push-ups. You understand? That's the real 100 push-ups. The
mm,
first real 100 push-ups, I hope I'm not confusing you. The first 100 real push-ups is to do 100 push-ups without stopping,
mm,
without a pause. That's a true, what I call a true 100. That's a true 100 clip. Same thing with pull-ups. If you have to stop at a certain number, then dead hang and break it down, or if you have to stop at a certain number and plank, and then the number you stop at, that's your true number. So if your goal is 100 and you don't stop until you get 100, then you really have 100. If your goal is 50 pull-ups and you don't stop till you get 50, you got a true 50.
mm.
And there's layers to that also too. Because if you're going for a God set, you want to reserve. So at like 45, 48, you want to reserve some power to get that muscle up. You
Oh, so,
understand?
so is that why in your video you paused slightly at 40? Like, because you had the 40 easy, and then you took a break, and then you did another five, and you took a little second. Was it because you were saving to preserve for because even there's
Exactly.
a few, there was one rep that wasn't counted even on it. So you did even more than what you were. I think it was actually 55. I know you put 54 plus one, but as in, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all making sense. Okay. Love that. Awesome.
Yeah,
And
you have
number five.
number five is the on the minute. Um, I call it on the minute. I don't know where Imam came from. I don't know if Imam existed before On the Minute. I never heard of Imam before I came up with On the Minute. I honestly thought I came up with that. You know, I'm sure no idea is original. You know, certain ideas are, but no idea is original. So I'm not sure, and I can't say no one was ever doing that before we were doing that. But I call it On the Minute just to separate and let people know that this is Bar-Barian training because we don't use Imam. We call it ODM, On the Minute. So On the Minute training is you do a set on the minute. Every time that minute starts, Imam basically. So we would do 25 push-ups. Again, Bar-Barian training, the blueprint in every Bar-Barian, especially gold member, every Bar-Barian. And if you notice and you go do the research, we're strong at push-ups. Very strong at push-ups. That's the number one thing. To be a Bar-Barian, you have to be able to do push-ups because at any given time, you could be called out to do push-ups and there's a floor. We can't do pull-ups everywhere. You understand? We could be at a dinner table and you could call me out to do push-ups and I could do it. I have no excuse. And that has happened. Which brings me back to the battling. Remember, I was telling you a story and I told you I skipped over the battling. A lot of friends. I grew up with a lot of people, friends, if you want to call them friends, associates, that they would always try certain guys. I don't hang with them anymore. Instead of you being a champion, they try to find people to take you out. You understand? I hung around a lot of people like that. And maybe that's why I am the way I am today. So instead of me having to battle strangers like, or they champion and bring me around like, hey, my boy Zef could take anybody out, they would try to find people to beat me, strangers to beat me. It's like it felt bad for them to celebrate me. You understand? Like this guy, he's always winning, or he always has this. It's like some people would hate, and sorry to say they would be people that was around me that I would call friends. And I noticed that, and that's even from like video games, they would call strangers to beat me instead of me to go beat them. So that's how these battles would start. A lot of people would get out of jail. A lot of people, they would meet that they will see that can possibly do push-up, or they think that they could beat me. They'll bring them on the block, or they'll call me, hey, I know somebody that could beat you, Zef. Oh, yo, this guy's better than you. I will battle them right there on the spot. We'll be just chilling on the street, chilling. This guy he just came home, buff. Said, who? This guy right here, me? I'll have to take off my shirt and battle them right there on the spot on the sidewalk and beat them. Sometimes we'll have to go drive like, okay, I'm good on the ball. Okay, no problem. I'll be in dress clothes. Drive to the park with them or walk, take off my button up, hang it, beat them on the pull-up bar. And these were guys that was so-called, the top dudes. So constantly I would be having to battle people daily, sometimes weekly, until the point where they couldn't find anyone anymore. So they stopped calling people. So what brings me back to say for the On the Minute, we do a lot of push-ups and we do a lot of sets, and the time aspect, which makes things a lot more difficult. So On the Minute, we give you probably like 40 seconds based on 25s now, 40-second rest. It takes us probably like 20 seconds to do 25 or 25 seconds. It's quick. We do 25s now very quickly now. So On the Minute, 25, On the Minute, the goal was to get an hour 1,500 push-ups in an hour. It became a routine now, and that would be the set, or that would be the warm-up. We start with the on the minute. And I would say that, again, these routines could be adjusted. That routine, I would say, could be from beginner to elite based on the time. Today, I don't go to an hour anymore. I get bored now with that routine. So the most I would do is 40 minutes. And now I go up each increment of 5. So I'll start with 25, 5 minutes of 25, 5 minutes of 30, 5 minutes of 35, and keep going up like that till it's 40 minutes. And keep it on the minute without stopping. On the minute, on the minute, on the minute. That's that's 5. There's a lot more, but that one,
yeah. Yeah,
that one right there.
no, I'm
What's
listening.
that?
That one right there. Look, I'm just
Yeah, that one right there. Again, from beginner, based on if you can only do 5, 10 push-ups max, then you would do 5 push-ups on the minute. And I'll tell people start with 20 minutes. 20 minutes of whatever your max is, you do 5 less until you get to expand on that. When that becomes easy and you find that you could go longer, pause, then you increase the numbers. It's so many layers.
this.
So
You
many
know, this
layers.
is such a blessing. Thank you so much for this. And as you said, this like you wanted this, you know, not to be the last, but just the first time we speak. 100%. I'm so grateful for your time as in and just the wisdom, the knowledge that you've shared here to be able to get this personal connection. Even just now, having had this conversation, I've got like one of those remote bars that you can kind of bring with you, set up anywhere, and just because I got it during the pandemic, because I like my pull-up bar wasn't working, I was moving house, so I needed to be able to train in 2020. So it's like you've just re-brought that light. I was wondering how am I gonna get to this next level? But just speaking with you, having all these, it almost feels like I just got a whole new set of new toys that I can go and play with, that I can go and test myself and be building with. And so what I'd like to do is obviously just to finish on is more to share like for those who want to follow you, like where can they find out? For those who want to work with you in terms of would want to get coaching by you, whether that you have any programs, whether you have any like retreats, like where's like the entry level? Do you know what I mean? Now talk to us, John.
The best thing and the easiest and the most convenient is to join the Patreon, because that's where you could get in contact with me the easiest. It's easier for me that way. Um, I do online training, Zoom training, programs, you name it. I do everything. But for me, the Patreon is much easier, and there's so much content on there, so many exclusive routines and videos, and yeah, trust me, whatever question you have been answered on there. It's easier for me for a person to just become a member. There's people that wanted personal training, and I tell them like it's easier. You should do that first. Trust me, do that first. You might be overwhelmed by so much content and information that you don't know where to start, and that does happen to most people. But I would say join that because you get everything. And then when you want to really, really, you just send me the message like, Zef, I'm ready to do the one-on-one training, and we set up a program for you. Or I'll tailor a routine specifically, a plan specifically for you. But you can't beat that. It's really, the Patreon is priceless, honestly. If I was a beginner or even elite, I have a lot of trainers on there. And I know there's a lot of people that rebrand the programs and the routines, and they probably even sell my routines there, but it's there to help everyone, So I would say the Patreon is the easiest way. Showing up to one of my workshops, that's also very good too. That's you see me in person and I could answer your questions and demonstrate and show you in person. Ain't nothing better than that.
Do you have any
But
coming up date this year or?
yes. Spain, August 31st and September 1st, and Malaga, Spain. That's our third time in Spain, third year. I have a few set up for next year, but that's the one definitely for this year. That one is in stone. Yeah,
That's a
that's the best bet.
lot to chew on. So we've got Patreon. That's the best place to meet you to kind of get the content. It's the
That's
lot
the
of
best place.
exclusive
Yeah,
content. Um,
best.
no, I appreciate that, brother. It's been a pleasure and incredible learning, incredible wisdom. It's been very inspiring, motivating, and empowering. And as I said, everybody faces battles in life. So what would be like a message of inspiration that you would share to somebody who's reaching a plateau, is wants to reach that next level? What would you say to them, or what would be that message you'd share?
Put me on the spot there. That's something I would usually have to write down an answer. Ah,
There's no
it's
right
so
or
much,
wrong.
man.
There's no right or
Huh?
wrong. Then it's just
It's the it's everything. Everything with me is always layers, and everyone is different. Everyone has different motives. Everyone has different goals. But the main thing for me is to stay pure. You understand? Make sure that you're happy and you're doing it for yourself, and not to make others happy, not to gain, any sort of admiration from people. Do it for yourself first, and always think of longevity. Don't think of just today. Think of tomorrow, because what you do today is setting the foundation for tomorrow. And you don't want to set that foundation on shaky ground. So whatever you build up today, make sure it's strong and that you can stand on that and look at that years from now and be proud of that. And that's definitely something that I'm very proud of. And everything that I helped build and build to this day is standing strong. And you can see anyone do the research and look up Bar-Barians, and you see that Bar-Barians are the strongest in the game. And I say that that's probably the one thing I'm not humble about. Bar-Barians are the strongest, and I'm very proud to say that, and I love all my brothers.
amazing. But it's been a pleasure.